about to have with Jay from Jay's Way today. So before we get started, I do have a couple pieces of housekeeping I want to go over. First and foremost, as you can see, my mic has been maneuvered in a different location than usual. I want to make sure I can pick up both of us. So please let me know and confirm. Can you hear me? Is everything coming through okay? If you notice any noise issues or any issues throughout this, please feel free to let us know. Also, please let us know if there's any Wi-Fi connectivity issues. So if you start to see that we're lagging a little bit, just bear with us because obviously this is our first time doing this live on scene, okay? So very, very excited to be with you all today. Let me go over again a couple pieces of housekeeping. First and foremost, awesome, everyone says they can see and hear me, fantastic. So first and foremost, if you are watching this and you are not subscribed to the channel already, I highly recommend going ahead and get that. Go ahead and subscribe to the channel because not only does that tell YouTube that we are creating quality content for you guys, given to more people out there in the world, but I'm also going to be hosting a lot more of these very soon. So me and the EverBee team have been working on pretty big projects in order to get as many guests that can help you guys out. So if you are subscribed to the channel, if you like this video, if you hit the bell notification icon, you should be notified every time we start getting those live, okay? Thank you, Melissa. We got a new subscriber. Yay, awesome. Okay, with that said, I also want to go ahead and take a quick second and acknowledge everyone who is watching the replay as well. You guys are important, so thank you guys so much for being here. If you were not able to attend the live conversation, that is totally fine. You can actually find all of the information about Jay after this video goes live, if you will. We're live now, but live on the YouTube channel in the description. And if you have any questions for Jay, myself, EverBee, go ahead and drop them in the comments of the video as well, and we will get back to you as soon as we can, okay? So that's number one. Number two is I also want to let you guys know you are the first people learning about this, by the way. So thank you guys so much for joining. We actually have a brand new website, and literally you're the first people that could ever about this. Everybody in the Facebook group is about to find out in about an hour or so. So for you guys that are here, if you want to go to everbee.io, we have a brand new website live for you guys, trying to enhance the user experience and your browsing experience. So make sure you check that out after this live is over, okay? Number two. Number three, let's see. I think that's really it. So let me talk to you about this live now. So basically the structure of how this is going to go is I'm going to bring Jay out in just a couple of minutes. We're going to go through some questions about his journey, about some tips and tricks that he can give to you guys. We're going to talk about Amazon. We're going to talk about Etsy. We're going to talk about design because he's been a graphic designer for almost maybe even over 2 decades, which I really, really want to make sure that we spotlight in this conversation to help all of you guys out, okay? So with that said, there's going to be a couple of different things that we're going to take in between certain questions that I'm going to be asking Jay that are pre-curated before this conversation, okay? So your questions, we are actually going to have, and most of you guys know Natalie, she is going to be in the comments monitoring your questions. Anything you want Jay to or myself to answer, we are having a carved out time at the end of this call. I want to say 15 to 20 minutes we will set aside for you guys, okay? So usually if you join me on Thursdays, you know that I'm very keen on answering questions as they come in. Just wanted to let you guys know it's a little bit different today, but we will get to each and every one of them, hopefully as fast as we can at the end of the live, okay? So hope that makes sense. The only other last thing that I want to tell you guys is a breakdown of the giveaways that we're going to be doing today. So we basically have, it says that the voice is dropping out. So thank you guys for letting me know. Let me pull this up a little bit, see if that's any better. Okay, so we basically have 12 different giveaways that we're going to be doing on this live stream today, 6 of which we are actually going to be picking from the comments, 6 of which are people that are had pre-registered for this event, okay? So if you were in the pre-registration, you actually are going to be able to get either an annual growth subscription to EverBee Live, or EverBee Live, good Lord, to the EverBee Growth Annual Plan, or you're going to get a free exclusive coaching call myself. So that is literally going to be just 4 of us on a live Zoom call. 6 of you guys are going to qualify for those. And then I'm going to have 6 other prizes, which are going to help people that were not pre-registered still qualify for some awesome prizes. 3 of which Jay is going to tell you about, because it's going to actually be his membership group where you're going to get live access to him. Okay. So with that said, I think that's all I have to say about housekeeping. So thank you guys for listening to me for 5 minutes. So right now, because I want to thank you guys for being here bright and early with me, and I want to celebrate you before we get started and before I bring Jay out, I'm going to go ahead and announce the first winners of the annual growth plan for EverBee, as well as the first person of the live group coaching call for me. Okay. So what we're going to do is, just bear with me one sec so I can make this work. All right. Hopefully you guys can see. It's kind of crazy because there are 341 of you that registered for this. So thank you guys so much. That's so, so huge. And I'm so excited to be able to announce these winners today. Let's go ahead and do the first one, who is going to be the annual growth plan. All right, let's go ahead and click spin. What's going to happen is I have each of you guys on a number. So whatever number comes out, I'm going to tell you who won in just a second. Scroll down. You can't see this. It's your personal information. All right. So the first winner of our annual growth subscription plan is, I'm going to say this wrong and I do apologize, Kim LaRoque. So congratulations. You just won the first free EverBee annual subscription we have. I'm going to go ahead and highlight you on here, and then I will personally reach out to you after this call because I do have your email. So congratulations, Kim LaRoque. Now let's go ahead and do the second one, who is the person who's going to be the first person to get on the live coaching call with me. Let's see, here we go. 212, perfect. Okay, so let me go and find 212 really quickly. All right, we got Angela Montgomery. So you are the first winner of the live coaching call with me. I will reach out to both of you guys after we do this live today so that I can get scheduled guys for the coaching plan, and we can also get your live, the EverBee growth plan done as well. So congrats to both of you guys. Let's go ahead and remove this. And without further ado, if you guys are ready, I think I'm ready to bring Jay out. I don't want to talk anymore. You guys ready? Let's do it. Come on, friend. I feel so weird not having, we were going to have like welcome music, like the Chicago Bulls playing. So guys, this is Jay. Please introduce yourself. Talk to the crew. Let me pull this a little bit closer to both of us.
What's up, folks? Thanks for tuning in. I'm Jay. I'm honored to be, I guess, the first guest on your EverBee's remote studio, and seeing you guys release is pretty special. So super humbled and honored to be here. So congrats to the winners as well already.
Yes.
Lots more to give away.
We have so much more, and I'm super excited. So do not go anywhere. We will be announcing the other 2, technically 4 winners throughout this. And then we're also going to be giving away 6 additional things that is really big. And I can't wait for him to explain a little bit more later on. Okay. So thanks so much, guys. If you're cool with it, we're going to go ahead and get started with the actual live interview now. I'm going to put the comments away. So please feel free to keep commenting, keep your questions come, and Natalie will keep monitoring them and giving them to us for the end of the live Q&A, okay? So first and foremost, thank you for being here. I know you said thank me for being here, but thank EverBee. But seriously, I'm so glad to have you. We've been friends for a couple months now. He is just a genuine, incredible human. I cannot wait for you guys to learn from him because I already learned so much just this morning, just hanging out with him in this awesome hotel room. So
you got to say, it's nice to talk shop, right? You don't always get that.
100%.
Like you guys know, this entrepreneurial journey can be lonely, right? So it's nice to have that.
That's true, because we're so, we were actually talking about like camera fatigue earlier and how we're so used to this. Like I can talk to a camera all day long, but like this, I'm like, oh, this is interesting. Like I'm talking to a human. It's very nice. So with that said, let's go ahead and get some questions answered by you for the group. Can you tell us a little bit about how you got started in e-commerce on Etsy?
Absolutely. So this is, not an uncommon story, I think. For me, I mean, it was unique to me at the time, but I'm hearing more and more that it was the corporate grind, the corporate struggle, and it was like a completely toxic workplace, right? I didn't know that I wasn't the only one feeling any which way about it, but so toxic to a point where I was literally wondering how I could hurt myself enough to not go to work that day.
Oh man, yeah.
Like not,
No, we get it.
it's just like, yeah, maybe I could like, I don't know,
Stub my toe,
or
right.
hit my finger in the car door or something, right? So, that to me was like, wait a minute, what am I thinking, right? And then a counterpart of mine, we were both managing at a major bank in the IT department. Office communicator is like an intramural type thing, like it's an intranet. So he's reaching out to me and he says, have you ever thought of hurting yourself just enough that you didn't have to come into work? Literally the day I was thinking, I'm like, this is not good. I'm like, okay, at least I knew then I wasn't alone, right? So I leveraged what I knew, which was graphic design. I went home that day and I started a plan to hammer out online, like there's the Kijijis, the Craigslists, all the online classifieds. I hammered out, there's actually a limit to how many classified ads I found that limit. Yeah. So I put out a bunch of freelance graphic design, ads out there. And one of the guys that called me was a local person, and he wanted me to design t-shirts for him for his Etsy shop.
Wow.
And he was plotting and weeding out of vinyl. So the designs had to be really simple for that, the Cricut cutters of the world to kind of go through and cut. And then he had to pull out all the negative space in there. So he was charging me, or I was charging him, I guess, $15 a pop for a design. And then he would go on to sell it over and over and over. So I'm like, wait a minute, what is going on here? Like I'm getting $50, and this guy's like, made a couple of bangers, and this guy's made $300 off that one design now. So like, what am I doing? So I quickly changed that to a royalty basis. So I started with $3 US per t-shirt and $5 per hoodie. Okay. Made me vested. So I was making sure that I'm making banger designs because I want them to sell over and over, but it also kept me getting paid, right? As long as that shirt sold 5 times, I made more than the next one was more than that 15. So that led to me opening my own Etsy shop, and then he ended up fulfilling for me at that point. So that was kind of like organically a way into print on demand that way.
Very cool. I can see you guys for sure. I'm going to move over a little bit because I'm watching your comments. I want to make sure you can hear both of us. Thank you. So we're just going to get snug over here. So it's actually funny he brings that up though, because for the people that have watched my coffee with EverBees on Thursdays, you know that I am also my entire business is freelancing, and that's something that I do as well. That if you guys, I didn't even know that about your story. So that's really freaking cool too, that it's not just me, quote unquote, that's going through that. It might even be something to open up for you guys as well. If you do like design, but you're not interested in owning or managing or scaling an e-commerce store, that's exactly what he did. And then being able to put that royalty on there is just so smart. So I love that idea. That is really stinking cool. And we also talked, I want to say 2 weeks ago, about how you could also not do Etsy or Amazon and have your own e-commerce store, but you can actually do promotional items for companies. So these shirts, for example, EverBee needed to get these shirts, right? So you could be the person that could source that for them. So I hope that makes sense. And I love that. Okay, so now that we know a little bit about your origin story, I know you're on both platforms. You might even be on more than 2 platforms, but what is it about Etsy versus Amazon? Which one do you prefer, if you will? Which one's maybe easier to even manage? What do you think these people should get ready for both of them?
Well, for clarity's sake, I'm on the Amazon, and it's Amazon Merch on Demand.
Yep.
So the first hurdle with that is actually getting accepted into a platform. They haven't they haven't come out and said exactly what the criteria is. There's all kinds of people out there that'll tell you they know what it is, but at the end of the day, they have not said anything, specific, right? And that's with having a friend of a friend who has somebody on the inside, and it's just not something they're going to divulge. That the reach And the passive element there is huge. There's no customer interaction. There's nothing to deal with. It's like a Redbubble or TeePublic or any of those.
That's cool.
But on steroids with Amazon's reach. Right. They print, package, and ship on their own end, but everything's Prime, right? Which is
everything that you sell is just 1 to 2 days.
Wow,
Prime. That's awesome.
So that alone is obvious. Yeah. It's got its obvious perks. On the flip side of that, though, is that they're very, very overzealous with the introduction of bots and stuff as to flagging potential IP infringement, like Etsy times 10. So if you think Etsy's not even close, and you can lose your merch account tomorrow without, even having a leg to stand on in any way, if the bots think that there's something wrong. Okay. And there's a lot of, frivolous reports of infringement too. There's that plagues every platform. The thing with Etsy though, is that you have way more control. I like the human element a little bit. It gets to be a bit much sometimes in Q4, but they're very different that way. And I can make $15 to $12 to $15 US per t-shirt is kind of where I set my profit margins. You can't even do that on Amazon because they've now capped our max royalties.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So, they're trying to cater to not the race to the bottom, but they want to cater where the bulk of buyers are buying from. They're making, data-based decisions, but at the same time, I had shirts that were selling for X amount and now I can't list new ones at that price. So Etsy's great because you can set your own royalties and do what you want at the end of the day.
I didn't give him this question, so we'll see if he gets mad at me for hitting him. So customer service. Obviously, we don't have to do that on Amazon, which I didn't know, and now I know, which is great. But on Etsy, how much? Like if we think of like an average hours a week, what do you think that you're putting into that right now? Or where you may be at the beginning, because that might be two different questions.
Well, okay. So in the beginning, I'm probably putting in about the same. So let's say 2 hours a week tops.
Okay.
But I'm also making a lot more sales than I was now compared to then. So the way I can quantify 2 hours in the beginning is you want to provide the utmost customer service, right? So maybe a little too much. Etsy peppers their customers with emails and stuff already. So you don't need to reach out about multiple things at every step of the way. The nice thing EverBee email that way is you can have them scheduled out, right? So there is that, and it takes a lot of the guesswork out. But I say now that it's still about the same amount of time, but I'm dealing with, way more customers at a time. I've just been able to kind of, you learn how to create a concise response that hits the nail on the head so that you never empower the customer or give them the power. It's always, the ball's always in your court. Nothing open-ended, no 5 or 6 back and forth, because you need to get stuff out and you need to stay within your, you set the processing times in Etsy and you do not want to go over them because then you might lose your star seller, XYZ, right?
100%. So, okay. I like that. He did great. Impromptu questions. We love it. Okay, cool. So then kind of segueing it from that into, we know, I think you just maybe answered the question, ironically, because I did not know 90% of the stuff that you said about Amazon or merch by Amazon. Can a beginner get into Amazon? Let's say they get accepted. So we know over that hurdle. Let's say they get accepted, but I'm brand spanking new to it. Can I do it? What is it going to take for me to perform on there comparatively to maybe like an Etsy that might be a little more beginner friendly? Yeah,
so it can be a go in the beginning. A beginner, the hardest step is getting accepted. So once you're in there, the second hardest thing is to protect your account and not get kicked off the platform, like I said. So you want to familiarize yourself with the USPTO, which is the US Patent and Trademark Office. You want to make sure you're checking every possible combination of keywords for trademarks, because like we said, it's becoming, way more rare now to have an actual human scrutinize something that gets flagged by a bot, right? It's typically bots don't have a gray area. It's either right or wrong. So they'll just kind of give you an infringement notice and then you have to plead your case. And it sucks for sellers, but it's way more efficient for the business.
Totally.
And they got to protect their bottom line. So I do understand that. Once you make sure that everything you're thinking of doing is kosher, design is the number one thing. So with Amazon Merch on Demand, for example, you're limited. In the first tier, you can only submit up to 10 unique designs until you've sold X amount of a threshold,
that makes sense.
And then they tier you up. And I think part of that was to, stop people from, I guess, listing exorbitant amounts.
Just flooding.
Yeah. And we see people preach this all the time, but I've always been a quality over quantity. If you can do it, quantity with quality,
Right.
but never sacrifice your quality for the quantity. All kinds of challenges out there to list as many as you can a day. And at the end of the day, if you're putting up crap that won't sell, but you're doing a lot of it, you're just getting really good at
More
listing and putting up and making
Right.
crap that won't sell.
100%.
Right? So getting good at design. And I mean, that's number one. So you don't have to necessarily do that yourself, but if you're not a graphic designer and you don't want to actually put the time to invest in yourself to learn how to be a better designer, outsource.
Sure.
Right?
Absolutely.
There's tools out there. There's all kinds of creative tools that you can use to use templated stuff that you can use commercially for your designs. On Etsy, you definitely want to be, make sure you have a part of the process. You can't just download and upload. But on Amazon, you can buy a pre-made design and upload it.
Interesting. So we're going to tell you guys a little bit more about Jay and about where to find him after this if you want to learn directly from him. But do you do Amazon or merch by Amazon videos on your YouTube channel as well, where like someone could learn from scratch from you?
I do, yeah. So a lot of the videos I've been doing lately have been around niche research. So I'll go into Etsy, and Etsy is a great way to validate demand using EverBee's Chrome extension there. And this is God's honest truth how I use it. I'll go into Etsy for all my research. Then I'll quickly click on the analyze the listing I'm in with the EverBee Chrome extension because it's right there in the app. And then I'll look and make sure there's actual demand for that. And you guys, if you watched any of my niche research videos, and then I'll take that over and then we'll kind of create a design in the same vein or same aesthetic or something, right? Like not copying, but, trying to bring something unique or different, identifying gaps in the marketplace is ultimately what it is. So yeah, design is number one. So I love teaching it. I didn't know that I would have the reception that I've had in my membership group, but it's been amazing. We're seeing results. So it turns out I don't suck at teaching it either.
I mean, I'm also just keeping an eye on the comments too. And it's like, any recommendations for learning graphic design for a beginner? Any recommended courses or trainings? Like there's a market of people that would love to learn this from you. So we will keep, like I said, continue watching this. We have good news coming at the end where 3 of you are actually going to free access into it for 90 days, but we will also give you more information if you want. If you don't get one of those 3, you can still join into his membership group where he actually will literally take a design that you guys have and manipulate it right in front of you and give you the context as to why. So really cool things coming. I'll tell you all about that in just a sec. With that said, we have made our way. We're doing really great on time. Good job, friends. So we have made our way to our first break, if you will, our little intermission, where we are going to go ahead and announce the second winners for both, again, the annual EverBee growth plan, as well as the live coaching call with myself. So we're going to go ahead and bring that back to the stage real quick. And let's go ahead and have 2 more things. I wish it was like song or something, like sounded like Jeopardy or something in the background. But I want it to like do something and not just me talking. All right, so we have number 55, which is, there's a lot of y'all, so I gotta scroll up a little bit. Number 55. Ooh, I am so sorry for what I'm about to do to this last name. Andrea Pomp Weasel Seal. Is that right? Is that? You want to try it?
Weizenseal.
That, oh my God, so much better. I am definitely from South Florida. Andrea Pomp Weizenseal, potentially, if that is the way to say it. Congratulations. You just won the EverBee annual growth subscription. So I'm going to go ahead and pop that in here. And then let's go ahead and do one more for the coaching call as well. Congratulations to Andrea. Woohoo! It's funny. Hector Osorio just joined in. He's also from Florida. Welcome, welcome. All right, we got 253. Let's scroll real quick. Let's see. Rusil Aribe. Hello, hello. I am super excited to hang out with you. You are the second winner for the coaching call with me. So I will reach out to both of you guys after this. You could also reach out to hello@everbee.io to claim your prizes, but I will go ahead and shoot an email to both of you. Congrats to the 2 other winners. We have 1 more of each that we are still going to give away, okay? So stick with us. We are going to be jumping into that really soon, okay? All right. Let's go ahead on now to business strategy and actually being able to scale and Jay's growth process. So excuse me. So you know a little bit about him, you know where he's been. He's told you which one he's kind of saying is better, worse, equal. Now let's talk about how he's actually made to where he is on both of these platforms. So what were some of the key strategies or decisions that significantly boosted your sales on both platforms? Is there a point in time that you could maybe take us back to where you're like, that worked, I made it on either Etsy or Amazon?
Yeah, well, one was the newer of the 2, even though it's already been over 6 years, I think now. But so starting with Etsy and POD going back 12 years now.
Wow.
Yeah. I was doing print on demand before it was a
before
household
it was
name.
a print on demand. Yeah.
For sure. But no, the biggest one that clicked was just getting out of my own way. It's, you know, putting my ego aside. So what I thought was a banger design, and you know, I'm educated graphically. I'm a graphic designer. I have, you know, went to college. That said,
can we pause real fast?
Mute my ka-chings.
No, it's perfect time. He just got a chain from Etsy. I don't know if you guys heard it, but that's been happening all morning. So if you guys needed proof that he knows what he's doing, it's literally been all morning so far together. Continue.
No, but yeah, getting out of my own way. It's just the thing where, you know, like just because I thought something was good doesn't mean it's going to hit with the customer. It doesn't mean that it's what they want. I know graphically and, you know, with my artistic education that it was put together and it's a nice piece of art, but it doesn't mean it's what the customer wants. Just because you think something's awesome doesn't mean it's going to sell. You got to listen to your customers, put your ego aside that way.
Love that.
People I see all the time in different groups are like, has anybody found the perfect shirt? I want it to feel like this. I want that this. I want the wow factor on the t-shirt. I want, you know, all these things. Like, you're setting yourself up for failure that way, because this isn't about you. It's not about what kind of shirt. It's about what kind of shirt your niche market or your target audience wants. Are they going to want that more robust Gildan 5000 or the Comfort Color 1717? Or are they going to want something that's a little more, you know, slim fit, like the Bella Canvas 3001?
Today.
You know what I mean? Like, it depends on the niche. It depends on that ideal customer. And as soon as you can remove yourself from the equation, that's a completely different thing. And then the other thing was on the, you know, tiptoeing the line of perceived value, right? Just because you see competitors out there pricing at $18 to $20 doesn't mean that, you know, people won't pay more. And because you won't pay $35 US for a t-shirt doesn't mean the customer will, right? So, you know, perceived value is a real thing. You need price so that it commands a value, and design will get you there.
Command, that's a good word.
It's true.
That commanded my attention.
So once you stop, and the other thing is, like, I didn't have, this is kind of like a spin on today's world of print on demand. I didn't have the YouTube channels or the people I could, you know, the resources they have. Now there's so much information out there that I'm sure a lot of you kind of follow 5 or 6 of us probably at any given time, right? It's too much. Pick one. Doesn't have to be me. This isn't a sell J thing.
Just self-plug real quick.
Somebody you resonate with and follow their advice, but stick with it for a few months. Like, don't bounce around, because a lot of us have won different ways. That's why my channel is called Jay's Way. It's not the perfect way necessarily, right? It's worked for me. It's worked for many people, but it doesn't mean it's the only way. And honestly, a lot of our stuff, if you listen to a bunch of people, it's going to be conflicting. So you're going to be, you know, trying to apply somebody from over in column B's thing and wonder why it's not working, but you're jumping all over the place. Just, you know, put on the blinders and put your head down and go to work.
I like that. So what if again, putting him on the spot, random questions coming to my head. What if
best kind
someone is brand new and they don't have that feedback yet? So they don't know what design works for their people yet. What does that look like?
Well, this is going into the niche research now. So, you know, I would start with an ideal customer. I do have a free download for an ideal customer workbook if that's what you want to look at. Because choosing a niche is one thing, but within a niche, for example, if you say sports, for argument's sake, is what we were talking about earlier today, right?
That was our couch conversation.
Yeah, it's one of those things. So if you're marketing to somebody who plays soccer, it's going to be a completely different customer than somebody who plays football or baseball, right? It's completely different things. They're different seasons of the times of the hockey or baseball, for example. So you're looking, you could make a lot of sweatshirts or hoodies for the hockey consumer that way, right? The person who's in the hockey niche versus baseball is going to be more tees and tanks. So the products are different. The designs are going to be different. And ultimately price points could even be different, right? So do the research, find out, and I always implore people to start with a niche they know, only because it'll, lessen that learning curve.
True.
If you can get into something that you already have a bit of a passion about, it keeps it fun. But yeah, start there and then look at what products for that particular niche make sense. So like, you're not going to be necessarily making baseball designs on a shower curtain, for example, or on flip-flops, right? But conversely, you might be, that person coming into retirement. It could be an inspiring thing to have that beachy scene on their shower curtain, or like those flip-flops for somebody going on a trip or a winter vacation, right? So
smart. I like that. Very cool. Thank you. Someone said the sound was still fading in and out, so I pushed it down a little bit. Y'all, like I said, I'm watching them, so please let us know if we just need to get like ear to ear. We will do it for you. All right, so let's go into what I really came for, what I'm really excited to talk about. And honestly, I think you could just take over the rest of the show with probably the next 5 hours of knowledge here. But he is a graphic designer by nature, right? So we know he's done incredible in freelance work. We know that he's done incredible in Etsy and Amazon. We know that he is now doing incredible as a content creator and mentor to you guys. But we're graphic design. We're foundationally graphic designers. So can you share with us today some foundational design tips that might be able to help our audience out?
Number one is, keep it simple. Stop trying to overthink it. Just because you see everybody selling the same thing out there. One, if you're trying to copy or emulate what's already working out there in terms of the whole package, like the font styles, the colors, and the aesthetic, you're going to be trying to compete with people that already have sales velocity, they already have reviews, they already have social proof. So why would somebody pick yours over theirs, right? So try to bring something new that, fills a gap in the marketplace, right? And you'll only find the gaps in the marketplace by doing that niche research. And this is different than just keyword research. Truly knowing your niche is knowing what that customer would probably like for breakfast. Where do they go in the afternoons to pass their days on weekends? Where do they hang out online, right? These are the kind of things you want to ask yourself. Otherwise, less is definitely more. Keep it KISS. The acronym is keep it simple, stupid. It sounds cliche, but it's true. It works. And the other thing is like over designing is really to do. A lot of people just add more stuff, and more is not better. If you have a very busy design and you clutter it up, or you add more things because you feel like it's empty, you have to be artistically educated enough to know how to use hierarchy and balance so that the design makes sense and doesn't look out of place. It's so much more easy to screw something up the more you add to it. That's the bottom line. So simple sells. Words on shirts have and will always sell. That leads me into a segue of get to know a little bit about typography. It's fundamental. There is not going to be, if you're a t-shirt seller or selling mugs or any of the big popular items, very seldom are you going to have a shop that doesn't have at least some words in some of their designs, if not most. So don't underestimate the value of typography. Typography alone set you apart. And then otherwise, just practice. It's okay to suck. Man, people, you see it all the time, right? Like 3 months in, I haven't made any sales. Like I thought, blah, blah, blah. In what world have you ever gone into a job and 3 months in, we're absolutely crushing it? A lot of people spend more time than that in post-secondary learning a new skill. It's the same thing. You're not going to be a pro with months or even a year under your belt necessarily, unless you have this knack for it that you didn't know. So it takes time. Have fun with it, learn, and enjoy the process.
I love that. Also, so most of you guys know this. I mostly do digital marketing. So I actually looked the other day. It's very embarrassing. I might show you guys one day if I can stomach it. But it was my first ever digital ad creative that I had made for a client when I first started this like 4 years ago to the one that I recently made, like side by side. It was atrocious, but someone still bought it and it performed as it was supposed to. So like he said, do not be afraid to suck, because that's how you're going to learn. That's how you're going to get better. That's how you're going to potentially get the constructive feedback from someone, or constructive feedback from click-through rate at the optimum. So don't be afraid to suck. I completely agree with that from experience on multiple different places in my own business. So with that said, let's go ahead and move on to the last and final pre-registered winner. After this one, this is going to be anybody, again, that pre-registered for this live training. I'm going to go ahead and announce those 2 final people now, but do not go anywhere because we still have 6 more things to give away after this. I'm going to give you guys the rules on how to win those 6. Every single person on this live training right now will qualify for it. You do not have to pre-register for this whatsoever. So with that said, let's go ahead and get the next 2 people done first, and then we will dive into those rules. Lo-fi beats or something. All right. And so we were at 253 last time, so I don't have to go too far. All right, so we have Leah Luistro. Again, I'm so sorry if I'm butchering these names, but Leah Luistro is the winner of our 3rd winner of the EverBee annual growth plan subscription. So congratulations. Again, I will be reaching out to you very soon. Last but not least, let's go ahead and pull the 3rd person on the live coaching call. Annette says, my number, please. Kristen says, pick me. I wish I could. Let's see. 315. Let's go, go, go. We're actually really close to all the other ones we had. All right. So this one is going to be the last person who is going to be invited to the live exclusive Zoom group coaching call with myself. It's Javier Roman or Roman, however you pronounce that. We have Javier Roman who has won that one. So congrats to everybody who won either the annual growth subscription or the live chat with myself. I will be reaching out to all of you, or if you'd like to reach out to hello@everbee.io, we will also be able to claim it that way as well. Okay. So now let's talk about how everybody else on this live can also win 6 more times. So what we're going to be doing, I'm going to set a little challenge for myself. I don't know how it's going to go, but I am going to be listening very intensely to what Jay is going to be telling you guys over the next few curated questions. I am going to curate my own quiz questions from things he's saying. Okay. So stick with me. If you want to win, it's going to be a question that I bring up based on things that he has said over the next around 5 to 10 minutes. And then I will put it in, we'll just say it right here. And then I will have you guys, the first person to answer the question in the comments will win each of the things. Okay. Annette said her ears are locked in. I'm very excited. All right. So with that, let's get into just a couple more questions. I want to make sure we have at least 15 minutes for you guys to get your questions answered live from Jay. So let's spend the next 5 minutes or so learning a little bit more from him directly for you guys, and then we will get into the live Q&A. Again, if anything came up over the couple of minutes, or if you have anything even from the past, or you're experiencing something in your own Etsy store, your own Amazon store, drop them in the comments. And if Jay can answer them, which I'm sure he can, we will make sure to hit all of them before the end of this call. Okay? Yeah, it's like, look at my
sweating out.
Yeah, my thinking gear on.
No pressure.
Right. Okay. So with that said, I have a couple of things I want to move around a little bit that I think will help you guys out most after what we already talked about. So the first thing I think is what are some of the biggest challenges that you have faced as an e-commerce that these guys and gals might also be experiencing, and how did you overcome them?
One of the biggest ones that I think is, it's actually a plague in the industry is the frivolous trademarks. So that's one big one where people will just trademark whatever they can and then to try to own, a particular phrase on a shirt. It's not a niche and it's not functioning as a brand identifier. So they're technically frivolous. It shouldn't be allowed, but the USPTO is stretched so thin that a lot of it just gets through, right? Because they're looking at it like, did they tick the boxes with their applications? There's no kind of that is really measured that way. Unfortunately, at least in my opinion, not enough of it. So one of the biggest hurdles I had was people actually stealing my designs going back 12 years ago.
Oh, wow.
And then trademarking them, like the particular words.
The one you made first.
From scratch, my own, yeah. And then serving me the takedowns.
Wow.
So I had to register a trademark or two and turn them into brands and use them properly. But in the beginning, I was just playing like defense, and it was terrible. And it's rampant now. So I would argue that you can, copyright your stuff so you have your actual artwork, so you have a leg to stand on. Because with Etsy, for example, serve a takedown for copyright, they can counter. And if you don't have an actual number of a registration, once they've countered, you can't serve them another one. Your only recourse now is to, legally do something. So take them to court, have a lawyer involved, all that stuff. This isn't legal advice, so please, please contact an IP lawyer with any and all questions if you do have. But that's probably one of the biggest ones. So to overcome that, you have to learn to, protect what's yours if it's selling. So I wouldn't say go and trademark or copyright all of your designs, but the ones that are performing, if it's worthwhile, spend the money. You don't want to spend $85 to register a design, but if it's made you $1,000, that $85 now sounds like, a reasonable amount to protect that going
just
forward.
a normal business expense at that point.
Sure. Yeah. And I mean, it's all write-offable, right? They're all write-off. So, register your business. I know in Canada it was only $65, so it'd be the equivalent of $50 probably. Register your business because then you can leverage write-offs. Everything you're using, your utilities in your house, a portion of your mortgage interest, all that stuff, like all the things that apply to what you would use in your office space to create these designs can be write-ups. So that's one thing I wish I had done earlier. Another thing is another way to get out of your own way is I see people in all the groups all the time ordering samples, being critical. Stop looking at it through the lens of a seller. Look at it through the lens of a shopper. A shopper is going to be completely fine with how this shirt print looks at a 6-foot distance. My wife and I printed for ourselves through COVID just to make sure that we could actually get stuff out on time when, a time where everything was delayed by weeks and months. We took that on ourselves, bought equipment, and started printing. We were doing the same thing. It was like, oh no, this will never pass. Meanwhile, Stacy would say over there, looks great from here. She's only 3 feet behind me. Okay. So we started doing a 6-foot, right? So we would just hold it up. Does it look good? Should be 5-6 feet away from me. Yep. Good. Nope. Bad. And that was that easy. So if you can hold it at arm's length and it looks decent, the customer isn't going to be nearly as critical as you will with the products that you're selling, right? So you don't need to order 7 more samples and try all of the printers, for the same design, same product. And then print out also different, an RGB kind of chart on a shirt so that you can know what those colors could and will potentially look like. It's a color chart. You can, most PODs out there will have their own version of it. You can just put one on a shirt, order that. So then you'll have an idea of what the colors will look like.
Okay. We have a lot of beginners here. I know what it is, but can we explain a little bit RGB?
Sure. So there's a misconception that, you need to design in CMYK. The math is that CMYK is a color spectrum that is used in printing. RGB is how it's viewed on screen. So RGB is made up of red, green, and blue. CMYK is cyan, magenta, yellow, and K it represents black. No idea why, but that's our history there, printing history. I got to go back and read a textbook. But So ultimately you want to design in CMYK only so that you don't think that you can put these bright pops of color on. So CMYK on a screen will look more muted, which is a little bit more true as to how it'll print. When you save your PNG for up, PNGs are always and forever RGB. So it'll convert that into RGB. Okay. And then at the printer end, they will convert it back to CMYK to print. So you make sure you don't, there are some who do a great job with the bright greens and bright pinks and stuff, but make sure that you expect to have neon colors show up on a shirt because it looks good on your design on screen. Remember that what you're seeing on screen, regardless if you're designing in RGB or CMYK, your monitors are going to show that in RGB.
Nice.
Yeah, I mean, there's a couple of things there, but I would just set yourself up for success and not failure. So, and by that, I mean, don't disappoint your customers. So make sure you lessen your opacity on your mockups also to kind of mimic how a shirt would actually print. So for example, EverBee on that one would actually look a little bit more bright than this one on the white because they may not use the white underbase because it's unnecessary on a white shirt. So the ink tends to kind of permeate the shirt more, so you'd feel it less, where that one you can kind of feel the print, right? So 100%. The colors will pop a little more on a darker shirt. That's just the nature of the beast. So make sure you set, the expectation for your customer that way.
I didn't know that. I'm learning so much today. Thank you for being here. I'm like, what's RGB?
These are all ground zero things
that
should be talked about, but
100%.
Not a lot of people out there even know this who are in space.
And like you said a second ago, we have a lot of YouTube channels for all of us to choose from and learn from. And I feel like design is the one thing that we're really, really missing to get down to like the fundamentals of like why someone even likes something. Like when you guys go to Hobby Lobby or TJ Maxx or Target, why are you as a human, a shopper, a buyer, a searcher gravitating towards this? Like having that in your own brain and like that just be the natural way that you react to things. Exactly as approaches designs, I think is incredible. And that's what I really wanted to focus on with you guys today. Okay, so then my next question is, how do you, and I want to make sure, again, I want to be very cognizant and respectful of your time, obviously, who's watching this. If you guys are okay with it, I'm getting a lot out of this and I hope you are as well. So I'm going to do one more question with Jay, and then we are going to announce our final winners and then move to a live Q&A, okay? So I think what's going to make the most sense to help you guys out is going to be, what advice would you give to new sellers starting on either of the platforms? Either and. So like what would maybe 1 to 2 things for Etsy, 1 to 2 things for Amazon, of course, after they get, accepted into the program. What does that look like for a brand new beginner?
Just learn design and get busy creating. You're only going to get better at designing by designing more. And that's where quantity has its kind of, its superpower, right? It's quality first, but in quantity comes practice. So just get good at making designs. And the best way to do this, whether it's Amazon or Etsy, I mean, and everything I kind of, preach is transcends platforms that way. So pull up your designs. If you think you have a banger design, or you think that, or you're not sure, pull up your designs in the search results on Etsy. Do not tell anybody, and then go, ask somebody to tell you on that search results page which their top 3 or 5 favorite are in those search results, right? Do not tell them which one's yours. Let them pick. If yours isn't one of the top 5, it's not good enough. It's arguably not good enough, especially coming in with 0 sales. So that's one way to get an objective opinion or an outside opinion, right? Because as a designer, there's nothing worse than like putting your soul into something and then being emotionally connected to it and not have it sell. It sucks. So stop dwelling on, the lack of views, the lack of this. There's so much dopamine that we're all suckers and, we're all suckers and addicted to, that we're all looking at, oh, I got views. Stop looking at the views. Stop looking at that. Focus on design. Try to get better. Look at the shops that are absolutely crushing it and create designs that look similar, just for the sake, I'm not saying list them or copy them, but just to see if you can actually achieve what they're doing. You know what I mean? If you have the technical ability, practice and practice and practice until you get there. I just probably number one is work on your design, have fun with it, but honestly, just start, because it's never going to be the perfect time. There's never the perfect time. It's the platforms are always changing. The design programs are always changing. Aesthetics are always changing. Evergreen is this word thrown around like if you have a design, it'll sell forever. If you're lucky and lucky that way, I've had a few that have been selling for 7 years plus.
Dang,
solid.
that's amazing.
That said, the typical evergreen design could have like, a 12 to 18 month shelf life. It will still expire because the color palette will change. The popular fonts for that niche will change. Going on the end, the particular vernacular, the keywords for that niche will change. And that's why I say like niche research is paramount. It's staying abreast of what is going on. So if you're choosing a niche, get into those groups on Facebook, get into wherever they're hanging out, pay attention, involve yourself, and ask them. They're the right customer. Ask them which design A or B do they think has the most potential. At the end of the day, you're going to list both anyway, but listen to their feedback, right?
Nice.
So much.
There's so much to tell you.
It's a lot.
No, that's good. Anything else?
Not that I can think of off the hop.
Yeah. Do you have any?
I don't want to overwhelm people, because at the end of the day, just get started.
Amen.
Yeah.
100%. So for someone that's getting started, I do want to throw one more question out because I think it's the perfect segue from what you just said. How do you, not really how, but mostly do you think it's a good idea for them to do external marketing in the beginning, or is it a better idea to I don't rely on it, but really focus on the SEO and internal marketing first?
So here's the thing. I go back to design over everything.
I love it.
It's just, like I said, it's Jay's way, right? It's not necessarily the only way, but SEO will get eyes on your prize, especially as a new seller. There's no question.
Yep.
If the design, it does not matter how many eyes are on that prize if the prize is crap,
right?
To be honest, for lack of a better word. Yeah. You can create more and more and have the best research SEO, the most relevant titles and tags on the planet. But if your design sucks, nobody's going to buy it. Now, on the flip side of that coin, your SEO could absolutely be terrible. But if it crosses the eyes of somebody who might say, holy crap, this is awesome, and it might be the perfect gift for Leslie or my sister, they're going to buy it, regardless of how they found that item. If the design hits, the design hits.
Very true.
So for me, it's always design first. In terms of the social media marketing, my social media game is super lame. I'm terrible at it.
I think
I use the excuse that I don't have the bandwidth, but really it's one of those things. I don't like it, so I don't have fun with it.
It's a job.
So if you want to do that and you suck at it like I design, outsource that element, right? So I should do that, but then I struggle with taking the time or making the time really to outsource that element, right? It's just on me at the end of the day. What I do use though is the QR codes that you can use through EverBee as well to build that email. I use them through different package inserts and stuff, because if you can add your QR code in your emails or in your email list, you can use the share and save from Etsy, which will give you a kickback of 4%. So it's kind of like being your own affiliate for your own Etsy stuff, which is pretty awesome. So it takes that 6.5% fee that they charge you for using their platform down to 2.5%, right? So
a little less painful
kickback. Yeah. Hope that answers your question.
Yes, very much so. Thank you. Because we get that a lot is people are always asking, should I do social media marketing? Should I do Etsy ads? Should I do a Shopify store versus Etsy and then do Facebook ads? So I just wanted to make sure. He's very, very easy. You always know the answer. It's design first. That's when in doubt, it's design.
Ads are easy. But just make sure you're advertising something. This is another one, sorry, but
design.
Tangent here. Listen, your design has to be good, and it also has to be presented well. So if you have a busy shirt, zoom in on that thumbnail, because ads are easy and they can be a great way to boost eyes on your prize. But if you're paying for that click, so if the design sucks and they can't make it out, they can't see it sucks. Now they're clicking on it to zoom in to actually read it and oh, now I definitely know I don't want this. So now it's killing your conversion rate because you're clicking and not. So it tells Etsy to stop showing your stuff in the search results for those particular keywords. Same with Amazon. On Etsy, on the other end, if you're zooming in on it, then if you're paying for ads, now you've paid for that click. That's a double-edged sword. Now you're paying for somebody to click your stuff and kill your conversion rate, right? So not only design being paramount, but showing like
Love it.
packaging the design.
Really, really good point. I love that. Because I mean, like you said, Etsy ads, Facebook ads, Instagram ads, whatever we're calling it, meta ads, TikTok ads, like they could be so powerful for you guys. However, the same way that we said the conversion rate on Etsy, same way where SEO doesn't matter if you have a crap design, it all goes back. And that's why I think that this conversation is so important. It all goes back to the original creation itself. So, wow. Thank you so much. Love that. Incredible.
And if you're doing ads wrong, they can cost
Well,
you
yeah.
a fortune really quick.
Absolutely. Not only will it be, like you said, potentially crash your CTR, which would be like click-through rate, or your conversions, but yeah, it starts getting real pricey very quickly if you're not doing it correctly in the beginning, which I'm really excited to tell you guys. We are actually diving into a training next Thursday. So we're getting back in action Thursday on our standard coffee with EverBees, and that is going to be literally a walkthrough of how to do Etsy ads. So I really hope that you guys will join me for that. And like I said, if you're not subscribed to the channel, go do that. Hit that bell icon so that you can be notified when we go live next Thursday at 10 a.m. Eastern. Okay. All right, guys, that was our conversation. High five. Go team. I don't want to do that too loud on the mic. I know we're like, so thank you guys so much for being here today. We're going to go ahead and open up the live Q&A with you guys, if you don't mind. I know we're going a little bit over time. I really appreciate all of you guys still being here with us. I'm going to ask really quickly 6 questions. I was like, I don't know if y'all saw me feverishly taking notes while he was talking, but throughout this conversation, Jay has dropped what I call incredible knowledge nuggets. And I want you guys to make sure that you remembered them as they were happening. So what we're going to really quickly is go through 6 different questions based off of everything Jay said today. And I just need you guys, the first person to give me the right answer in the comments will win. I'm going to make it as easy as possible. That should be fair as I possibly can. If your Wi-Fi is slow, I can't help you. You guys obviously been slow today too. Natalie will be keeping a lookout for you guys, and she is going to write your name in our Slack thread together. So the first person to answer each of these questions, are you ready? Jeopardy. Yes, I love it. All right, so the first one, Jay said a design acronym. So he was basically saying, I want you to do this with the acronym, and it's something that a bunch of us probably say in our day-to-day life as well. It's 4 letters. What is the acronym that Jay used to talk about how to make a simple design? First person gets it. Wow. This always happens. They hit it so fast. Yes. Oh my God. Good job. All right. So the first person, it looks like Stephanie. I believe Stephanie is the winner. So Stephanie, unfortunately, Jesus, y'all all come in. Like, I gotta scroll to the top now. So Stephanie is our winner. It's a girl on YouTube with a yellow shirt. So Stephanie, if you will do me a favor and provide your last name in the comments so Natalie can keep you on file. And then what I will need you to do is reach out to hello@everbee.io. Every person that wins the next 6 people, hello@everbee.io to claim prize. And what you got is 1 month free to EverBee. So you're going to get not the full annual plan, but we are going to give you the growth subscription for 1 month. So that is Stephanie. Good job, man. Y'all were killing it. I literally had to scroll through so many answers. Great job. The next thing, this might be a little harder, but it's still an acronym. Okay. So Jay was talking about a trademark research website that allows you to see if something is trademarked, if it's copyrighted. What was the website? It should be 5 letters. Drop it in the comments for me. The first person gets it. Hey, there we go. All right, we got Miss Memories 18. Awesome. Man, y'all are so fast. All right, Miss Memories 18 is the winner of the 2nd free month with EverBee Growth Plan. So again, Miss Memories, if you could please put your first and last name in the comments so we can obviously have your name for when you reach out to us. And please reach out to hello@everbee.io to claim your prize. Number 3, we spent a good amount of time talking about this acronym. I guess all of my questions are based on acronyms. So we spent a good amount of time talking about this. Jay was talking about how to design, what types of colors to use to design, how you're going to be able to see what it's actually going to print like, if it's going to be bright, blah, blah, blah. There was a 3-letter acronym that he used, not CYNX, CMYK, not CMYK, but the other one. All right, there we go. Dogs of Tel Aviv, got it? RGB, red, green, blue. So same thing as the other. Dang, y'all are so fast. It's so hard for me to scroll through this. Y'all are so good at this. Thank you so much for being attentive. All right, so Dogs of Tel Aviv, you won the 3rd and final 1-month subscription to EverBee. Again, please put your first and last name in the comments for me. Next, we are going to move on to the last 3 questions before we open up for a live Q&A. These are going to be for Jay's private membership community. In a second, I am going to have him explain a little bit about what that is, but today's conversation, guys, but all the time with him. And I'm not there, so you can just worry about just talking to him. So you get unadulterated access to him and his team, and it's going to be 3 months for 3 people. Okay, so this is a paid membership community. 3 of you guys are going to get 90 days for free. So here we go. Number 4. Now that I wrote this down, can't read my own handwriting. Okay, so sorry. So there was however you guys want to answer, it's fine. I will read between the lines. There was an exercise that Jay just recently spoke about, where if you're trying to figure out if your design is actually good or not, he said, go to a friend and do this. Can someone tell me what that was? And if not, I'll make another question, because now that I'm reading it out loud, it is kind of hard to understand. Okay, we got a 6 feet answer. Good. There we go. There we go. Okay, yes. All right, so Daryl H is the winner for this. Danielle goes so freaking fast. Hold on. I got to find you again. Daryl H. Yes. So we want friends, family, whomever, an unbiased opinion to look through like 5 or 10 of them and find if your design is the one that caught their eye. Is the answer. Great job, Daryl H. You get a free 3 months with my friend here. Congratulations. Moving on to number 5. What is, and this is not recent, we've been kind of talking about this a lot. What is the hardest, quote unquote, the hardest part about merch by Amazon? We said it a couple times. What is the hardest part about merch by Amazon? I'm so nervous. It's going to be like 50 at one time. Right now, it's quiet. There you go. There you go.
To get in.
Yes, there you go. Leah also said she thinks her answer was a little more accurate.
Getting approved.
I do agree, but it was the first answer, okay? So your answer here is getting accepted, getting approved, getting in, whatever you guys gave me. Let me find the first one. I'm going to scroll up. Looks like it's this one right here, right? Docs Sunray.
Yeah.
Okay, so congrats. We have Docs Sunray. They are winning the second 3-month subscription to maybe I'll be there, but for Jay's membership community. Last but not least, this is our last giveaway. This is our 3rd person that gets that free membership. So get ready. This is a little bit more difficult of a question. Hopefully you guys get it. What is the best first step to take on either of these 2 platforms? And I'm going to give you guys a little hint. I say the word wrong all the time. He said the word right today, and people congratulated him for saying that word appropriately. Do you guys know what it is? Okay, we got design.
Look at your
You're like, I don't even know what it is.
Oh, okay.
You said it right. They always make fun of me for not saying. There we go. Wayne got it because Wayne has been on every single live training, so he knew exactly what word I usually say wrong. The answer is, say it.
Niche.
Niche. Because I say niche. Yes, the answer is niche research is the first thing that Jay recommends us to do. And then thinking, well, kind of design too, but thinking design after completing that. So that's going to go to Wayne Burrows, which I'm really excited about because he's been hanging out with us for the past couple of weeks on these lives. Congratulations. So every single person that won today, we love you guys. Congratulations. We are so, so grateful also to have just everybody here. This has been such an incredible experience. And again, if you are open to it, I am going to go ahead and open up the live Q&A now. If you have to drop off because of that, is totally, totally fine. We will go ahead and have this obviously on replay that you can watch it on YouTube as well. It looks like people are saying they were before Wayne. I'm so sorry. Did I not look at it right? One second.
We'll have to roll back and double check.
Yeah, my apologies, guys. I will figure it out and personally will reach out to each of you. Don't worry. Just make sure you reach out to hello@everbee.io for the last 6 people that won, okay? That's the only way we're going to be able to give you the gift. So make sure you do, and then make sure we have your first and last name. All right, so with that said, again, by all means, if you have to fall off because of time, we totally understand, but let's move into the live Q&A really quickly. So the first question I have, thank you so much, Natalie. The first question we have, how do you get the client for selling company promotional swag? Actually, that's ironic. It's a question for me. Sounds good. So, all right. So how I do that personally is you can, there's places like Upwork and Fiverr, and also he made the comment as well about having to find people that are like in the classifieds on Craigslist. I also have found people actually like in local businesses. So if you have a local coffee shop, if you have a local dentist office and they need something like this, they need a mug, they need pins, whatever your either handmade or print on demand provider can give you, there's multiple different ways There's multiple different ways to reach out to them, but that's what I would usually do is look local first, and then you can start looking nationally by going through different like freelance platforms, okay? Number 2, really quickly, is, let's see, I don't really know what this is. Do you know that by chance?
Which, the second bullet there?
Yeah, for databases for infringement for international selling, are there any?
Yes.
Okay.
So every country ultimately has their own, but there are some that kind of transcend. So, like there's one for the Union, there's one for different, I guess, lack of a better word, there's one for the UK, like different kind of an amalgamation of countries, if you want to call it that. I'm not sure what the actual term is. There are a few. You can definitely look those up. I don't know them offhand, but I know that in Merch by Amazon, if you go to their resources, they have a list that you should be able to access for free, I think. Yeah, if you go to merch.amazon.com, if that hasn't changed, you should be able to go and find access to those trademark database.
Sweet, love it. Okay, so I taught myself graphic design, but I want to I want to up my game to include more video skills. Do we have any recommended courses or trainings? You want to talk about it now? Because that's a perfect opportunity.
Well, upping your design skills, yeah. I mean, you could. This is what some of you who won there. What you actually won is a membership that is $37 a month to my inner circle. The reason why I priced it like that is because I wanted it to be less than $10 a week. There's so many things that are behind these $200, $500, $2,000 ludicrous paywalls that I don't think is very fair. And I really just want this to be as accessible to as many as possible. So that said, you will learn a ton about design. Whether you're a designer or not, you'll learn the foundations, you'll learn how to make better designs for print-on-demand products. Like I said, as a trained graphic designer, it's very different being good at graphic design than being good at designing t-shirts or designing for specific print-on-demand products. There's a lot more to it, right? But yeah, we have weekly live calls that are literally about design training. Then we'll take apart your submitted design. We'll look at it, assess what the good, the bad, what can be changed. And then you get to keep that design for resale if you want. And because you've had a hand in that design, you're allowed to sell that as part of a finished product on Etsy. You've had an actual element of that design, right? But in terms of video, I don't have a lot. Like for me, I think place it or things like that. There's like
True.
a lot of AIs
Yeah.
that you like elements out there that are coming out with more and more video. Canva is good for that. You can just save like a bunch of your different mock-ups if you're making them on there, and then save it as a slide at like a, 2 seconds per slide sort of thing. There's also what Stacy found out by accident, my wife, is when she was designing in Procreate on an iPad, it automatically by default records your entire. Cool. So it'll do a time lapse by default. Nice. So you can just go through and use a default time lapse of you creating the design. Nice. So if you're actually doing that hands-on, then yeah, it's an easy one and it looks cool.
And that looks really, really cool for like a digital seller or a handmade seller, like to be able to show the process, the BTS behind it. So I love that. Also, option for you guys, if you've ever heard of them, Udemy, Udemy is a really good location that I've done some training myself on. So I'm not 100% sure, but there might be some graphic design and video tutorials in there for you as well. All right, let's see. How do you figure out what designs customers want within your niche? See, there I go, saying it wrong again, niche.
How do you figure out what they want is by, doing the research, joining the groups, like I said. So if you're in a Facebook group, for example, well, look at what's selling, right? And then, validate that there's actual demand. So if you see something that looks like it's got demand, again, EverBee Chrome extension, it's just an easy one pops up. True. You can see searches, you can see their sales, and the actual sales numbers are real. There's a lot of AI in there. There's a lot of, algorithmic components that are best educated guesses, right? And this is all above board. And fully disclosed for sure. And the things that are real numbers are the sales volumes, right? And the age of the certain listings. So what you can do is see if there's any real demand for that with a click of one mouse click. Right. And then it's just about doing that research, finding out what's being talked about again, like throw your designs up, A or B. Do you guys like these? You'll get kicked out of the groups if you're listing your products. But if you ask for opinions, they'll give you so much good feedback and they'll tell you what they want. So Tony Robbins said this and made it famous, but success leaves clues. Yep. What that means is that, we'll tell you the clues are there. Pay attention to what you've sold. Pay attention to what's getting the views and visits. If you're getting visits but no sales, or views but no sales, it means that, there's something, there's a disconnect there, right? So maybe it's, again, people not purchasing because they've zoomed in on your design that they couldn't make out, or your keywords aren't bringing them to the right thing that they want to see, or it's, ultimately not what they want. So making sure that you're using the lingo in the group, what's hot, what's trending, really doing that deep dive. And people put all this stake into like having this process for niche research, but it's so organic. It should be fun. Like rabbit holes typically in business model are the enemy, but with niche research, they're your best friends. It's when you're in those rabbit holes that you get lost and you're so into it and interested, these designs are just going to fire. And once it clicks, it clicks. You'll be in the middle of like designing 2 or 3 things that you've done your research for. 3 or 4 will pop out on tangents. Oh, that's a great idea. So get lost in the rabbit holes. Have fun with that.
I love that. Also, if you think about I don't know if you guys have ever done like Etsy trend reports, being able to see those that they are actively predicting something of this nature might take shape over the next couple of months. And then I also really, really like to go around. I'm going to use my example from earlier, Hobby Lobby, TJ Maxx, Marshalls, Target, whatever, and just kind of get an idea of I've seen this type or this aesthetic multiple times. It doesn't seem like it's going anywhere anytime soon. That might be another external thing that you could potentially do, and then compare finding on Etsy or on Amazon as well.
Pinterest also.
Oh, heck yeah.
Trends.pinterest.com, I think, is the business end.
Someone just said that in the comments. Incredible. Yes.
And they are 84% accurate in terms of predicting trends. Some number that is above 80.
100%.
Yeah, really cool.
I love that. Absolutely. And thanks, Jesse, for saying that too.
Absolutely. Good call, Jesse, especially as a visual person.
Absolutely.
Seeing it.
Right. Okay, we kind of went over that, so we'll skip that one. Is Amazon merch, this is a very good question because I don't even know the answer to this. Is Amazon merch different than being an Amazon seller? Do you get access with it with a $49.99 membership?
So they are completely 2 different business entities under the Amazon umbrella. They're both Amazon, both search results. It's not Seller Central, so it's not Amazon had made. It is its own thing. You do not get access to it unless they approve you, and it is free to get in if you're approved. So, and whether or not they let you in is, cards fall as they may. If you don't want to even deal with that, though, you can absolutely open up a Seller Central account, and you would be considered FBM, which is fulfilled by merchant, and you can use print on demand to fulfill those orders. Absolutely.
Nice. Very cool.
You can do that. Yeah,
and you don't have to like apply or get accepted or okay. Fantastic.
No, it's like an Etsy, but with way less restrictions. It's just more cumbersome to list on Amazon than it is compared to other platforms.
Understood. That makes sense. Okay, we have, it looks like one more question to hit on. Right. Actually, I have a couple more that I might want to hit on in a second that came in through the comments. But how much does it cost? If you do, let me know. How much does it cost to register a design? And do you have to register in every country who you are selling to?
So if you're talking about copyrights,
potentially.
Yeah, I think it was like $60 to $80 for a design. Don't quote me. You can go to I think it's copyright.gov and check that for the price tag. But you can register a catalog if they're unpublished for like $120, which is cheap. I think it was around that for up to 10 designs. So
wow.
Get it done before it's published. If it's already published, I think you're up to the $60 or $80 marker. And these are numbers from a few years ago, so make sure you go check. Do you have to register them? No, because in essence, once something is created, you own the copyright inherently. It's just what it is. But if you want to have a leg to stand on, you're going to want a registration number if there's any kind of legalities going forward. It's just more pro, and you get taken more seriously if there was any issues with court and stuff. It's a lot easier to prove that you own it if you can show registration number. And no, you don't have to register in every country. You just want to make sure that you're registering it. I think you should want to make sure you're registering it in places where you would have the most grief. So I only register my bestsellers in the United States, for example. There just isn't a necessity for elsewhere. Not to say you have to even stress about that, but unless you're under fire. Right?
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean?
For sure. Okay, so we have two more that came in through the comments. I want to make sure I hit them real fast. Of your most successful design, what would be, this is, you don't have to say three necessarily, but what are the top three things that you believe made it so successful?
Doing something that wasn't done, keeping it evergreen, and going after big niches. Everyone tells you, that's another thing. Everyone tells you that, low competition, high demand, low competition, high demand. Low competition at today can sometimes just mean low demand. You know what I mean? Like if there's not enough competition out there, then maybe it's not a niche you want to even look at. If you do, you're going to need to, blow that up or have so many micro niches that now you're designing for X, Y, and Z, and your headspace is all over the place. I got a couple videos out there you can check out on my channel. Like my top three niches were tacos, cats, and birthdays.
Love it.
I don't even really like cats. So yeah, go after the big niches. Just try to bring something new to the table. Like getting a tiny sliver of a giant pie has afforded me. I never got to answer that you asked earlier. I just didn't think of it, but now I'm thinking about it. It's like, the tiny sliver of a giant pie is like, when did you think you made it? Like when my wife and I got to go to Costa Rica for 30 days, and I would open my laptop between 6 and 8 a.m. having Costa Rican coffee, which was amazing. In the jungle with monkeys and stuff, and toucans in the trees that you can see. Those 2 hours processing Etsy orders is a direct result of print on demand, working remotely, and like going after big niches, like not shying away from competition. Competition is the win. It guarantees that there's demand. It guarantees that there's going to be, and the more people that I think compete in the bigger niches, you can turn a marketplace into the spot for those particular niches, right? I don't want to reinvent the wheel. I don't want to be designing something without enough demand. I don't want to be spending all my time reading data. Like database decisions make sense, of course. If you get good at design, the data becomes very secondary. Sales velocity is number one. And in order to get sales velocity, you need to have a good design.
So someone just said, look at what's selling, be a little bit different, but not too different, ?
To a degree. Don't be afraid to go different. Don't be afraid to be very different. Identify what's not in the marketplace. So if there's an aesthetic that is not in your particular niche, then try that. Try, some winning fonts that you see in other niches. Don't just look that niche research. Like if you're looking at design components, look outside your niche. Look outside t-shirts. If you're designing t-shirts, look at what's just showing up in search results for a single keyword, potentially. And then you'll see patterns if you look hard enough and zoom out far enough. When I'm doing niche research for, let's say, the cat t-shirt niche, I'm not going to type like cat t-shirt. I'll just type cat, because there's so many other things that can pop up that you get, you get stimuli or, inspiration from.
For sure. Yeah, because that would, especially with EverBee, like it's going to consolidate intentionally. Obviously, it's a database. It's going to intentionally consolidate down to only the designs that are going to make sense aesthetically on a t-shirt, like what people are actively selling, aka people are utilizing that keyword or that long tail key phrase to get found, their design, their item, whatever. So if you just type in cat or dog or nurse or teacher, you might be exposed to tote bags. You might be exposed to mugs. You might be exposed to phone cases. You might be exposed to really cool handmade things that you would have never thought about, but you have the capabilities. So I highly recommend I do the exact same thing as well.
Yeah, I've found so many winning t-shirt designs from looking at other products that we're selling for the same target customer.
Nice, but a different product itself, different item.
Completely, yeah.
Nice.
People selling calendars with funny things on them. I turned an acronym on a calendar to
a t-shirt.
Yeah.
Look at there.
IDGAF was the lens.
Nice.
Because they're retiring, so they don't GAF anymore.
I love that. You can also do KISS, USPTO, RGB, all of our acronyms from today.
Don't
all right.
And don't do USPTO.
Yeah, I wouldn't. They're quite literally trademarked. All right, guys. Well, that is all the time we have today. Again, we have almost 130 people still hanging out with us right now, almost an hour and a half later. So thank you guys for carving out time during the middle of your day. We are so, so grateful for each and every one of you. Again, if you won any of the first 6 prizes, I will be actually reaching out to you personally. If you won the latter half 6 prizes, which were the 6 kind of speed round Jeopardy questions, make sure you reach out to hello@everbee.io. Okay. With that said, I will sign off with Jay. Tell the people where they can find you, how they can get in touch with you, where they can.
Oh man, thanks first and foremost for coming down here and doing this.
No
It's pretty special, right? Like, Costa Rica is one thing, but being able to move and live, and not sell my house back home, like I became a landlord, so like it's just POD has literally changed my life. So I want the same for everybody. Right? But at Jay's Way is the YouTube handle. My Inner Circle membership, you can get on the email list right now. For those of you winning, we'll reach out to you. But it's jaysway.work/inner circle. But make sure you put the HTTPS in there, because sometimes it has a disconnect. It's reopening on Thursday, so 2 days now. $37 a month, like I said. You get all kinds of information. I saw somebody ask about a shop review. Yeah, there's all kinds of stuff. Shop reviews, design reviews, titles, tags we go over, niche research, all the things that actually move the needle, right? Design obviously being 60% of what we talk about in there. And just the Inner Circle cost, somebody was asking again, is $37 a month. I might have an annual option there to make it a little more budget friendly, but I mean, you're talking less than $10 a week, and the goal is to get you making more money.
Way more than that. Right.
Like, yeah. And to put it in perspective, I am going to be getting the amount of people in only because I want to continue to over deliver. You can talk to some of the beta members that I've seen pop up in the chat here. The founding members, they have, been so amazing. We built a community based on trust. What's lacking a lot in our community in the POD world is that people don't want to share anything because they're afraid somebody's going to steal their stuff. Well, there's 2 schools of thought here. You can be that person, have that fixed closed mindset, or you can be the one of a growth mindset, right? And just recognize and get out of your own way again that if you're having design sales and you're not, or sales troubles and you're not making designs, no one's going to steal your crappy design anywhere, right? So that's like the nuts and bolts of it. And then the way to grow faster is to show and share, right? So it's been amazing. We are going to limit it again, but just so you're aware, we sold out in 88 minutes our beta.
Insane.
103 members, which is amazing and super validating. So from the bottom of my heart, thank you to the founding members, and look forward to blowing this thing out of the water and making it too good for you to ever want to not be a part of it.
Heck yeah. I love it. And we're getting so many comments too of people that are already in it. They're in the beta thing, I think, with you, which is incredible. So again, thank you guys for sure. Thank you guys so much for being here. To answer everybody's question, yeah, put all of the links to everything you guys need. So I'll put the link to the inner circle. I'll put the link to his YouTube, any ways that you guys can contact us to get these prizes. It will all be in the description of this video in just a few minutes. Okay. That's it.
That's it.
You're good. I wish I had something else, but we always cheers at the end. Cheers, guys. Clink, clink. And I will see you guys next Thursday. Thank you guys so much for being here. And goodbye from EverBee and Jay's Way. See ya.